eBay sellers. It's Suzanne A. Wells, and thanks for coming back to another episode of eBay the Right Way. This is episode number 23, and today's date is August 25th, 2021. I've got lots of news and updates in this podcast, so let's get started. First thing I want to talk about is a poll that I saw on my Facebook group regarding selling items in a niche or specializing. And this is a common topic, but I like how Allison created a poll to ask sellers how they run their business. So her poll said, do you think it's better to sell one specific niche category like shoes or clothes, or to deal in a whatever you find kind of way? I've been watching some videos on YouTube, and some people say to only sell in one category to keep your consistency for the Cassini algorithm, and other people that just deal in about anything they can find. Which is better in your opinion? So the votes for everything under the sun, 67 votes. Another option was to sell specific but add in special finds that profit, 6 votes. And then the last choice was category specific only, 0 votes. So the everything under the sun people was 10 times more than selling only specific items. And there were some comments underneath. One was by Amy Ostrander, who has been an eBay friend for probably 10 years. And she runs a very successful business. She says, I'd never niche down. When one category slows, my others pick up. In my opinion, it keeps my sales consistent by selling in all categories. And then Tina Wozniak, who I call the catalog lady, because she sold a bunch of JCPenney's and Sears catalogs that she found in a barn and made great money on those, so that's kind of a joke. She says, personal choice. I love the thrill of the hunt, so whatever makes me money. And then Kyle Horton said, learn, learn, learn. The more categories you know, the better. I started with shoes and clothes and now mostly do antiques and artwork. I guarantee I walked by thousands of dollars before I wised up and learned. Look up a couple new items a day. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And then the wise Melanie Wells says, it's better to figure out what works for you and your business. The only way to know is to try different things. That's the only way to learn what works and what doesn't. No one can tell you that. So I thought that was an interesting discussion, and that the overwhelming majority of people who voted, like 90%, voted for selling anything, not just a particular type of item. And I've been on board with that since I started. So I just feel like if you're in the thrift store anyway, if you're at that estate sale anyway, you might as well pick up what you can that's going to make you good money. And why would you walk past that? It doesn't make sense to me. Okay, moving on to the next topic. The episode last week, chatting with Casey Vetterly of $100 Supersize Sales fame, was the highest ranking podcast I have had so far, counting every single one, going back to the beginning podcasts that have been there for over 4 months. So that was really amazing. We had a great interview. So if you didn't hear that episode, Go back and look for that one. And I'm not sure if the success of that podcast was because of who the guest was, because everyone loves KC and he is very wise and gives great advice, or if my podcast is gaining momentum as we are approaching the 6th month in existence, meaning that SEO is working in my favor, or because you guys like listening to other people besides me, or just a combination of all those factors. But regardless of the reason, I just want to thank all of you so much for your continued loyalty, listening to this podcast every week. I really am flattered and honored that you would choose to spend your time here, because there's just so much content on the internet with YouTube and streaming and podcasts, and the fact that so many people choose to spend an hour listening to my podcast every week, or sometimes more. If you're like me and you find something good, you just listen to all of it. You binge listen or binge watch. So maybe you're listening to more than one a week. But again, I'm just really appreciate all of you tuning in and listening, because I do feel like I'm providing some great information to help everybody succeed with eBay. Now back to KC. You might remember him talking about the item he found when he was out thrifting, and he said, "I know this thing." And that thing is on page 29 of my BOLO book. So students, get out your BOLO book and you can look up what that is. Anyway, I was chastising KC for not having listed it yet, and he did list it a couple of days later and posted that sale in my Facebook group because it sold 2 days later. So he paid $8 for it and sold it for $216 in 2 days. So even more reason to get those items in your death piles listed, because they can sell very quickly. Now, back to having guests on this podcast. I do have a few more guests lined up for you. These folks are sellers who regularly post on the $100 supersize sales thread, and they will share their insight so we can all benefit from their knowledge. And I really don't want to call these interviews because that sounds so formal and scripted, but it's more like fun chats, or just, sitting down and having a cup of coffee with an eBay friend and talking. And I am choosing sellers who consistently sell these high dollar items that they may only pay a couple of dollars for, or get free off the side of the road or on Facebook or something like that. So these will be just really casual, unscripted conversations, because it's just more fun than a rigid list of questions. Okay, next is a comment from YouTube. And I posted a video a couple of weeks ago about the toy shortage as we head into fourth quarter and what's going to happen with holiday buying this year. Obviously, it was all speculation based on the toy shortage and shipping industry and just a bunch of factors that are going on that may create a perfect environment for us to sell both new and used toys this fourth quarter. So Cynthia posted a comment that said, "Thanks for the video. I have never sold toys before, but have been trying to decide which toys would be desired for Christmas by looking at the lists of the hottest toys for 2021. However, when I look at what those toys are being sold for by Walmart or Target, then compare that to the prices listed on eBay, many are listed below the price they can be bought for. Can someone explain how sellers can afford to do this. Okay, a lot of things going on with her questions, so let's unpack this, as they say. Hi, Cynthia. You don't have to sell the hottest toys. Just sell things that people want. In fact, I would stay away from the hot toy lists, as those items will be very competitive on eBay and could later be returned. Here's the scenario. People buy them for Christmas because they want their kid to have it on Christmas morning. The kid opens it, plays with it. Then mom finds that item in January for much less, either online or in the store. So let's say it's some kind of Nerf gun and the retail price is $15, but nobody can find it, so the price gets all jacked up on eBay, a supply and demand issue, and they're selling for $45. So you have a great sale of an item, 3 times the shelf price, but then supply catches up with demand. And if the buyer is within the 30-day return period, yours could be returned. The mom switches out the new from retail store item she goes and buys in January and sends that back to you. So it's in the same condition as that buyer purchased it. This is a known scheme. It's not really a scheme, it's just a situation. Because it's possible, it can be done. And this is one of the reasons I stopped selling on Amazon, was because January was called Return-uary, and Amazon extended the return period to 60 days. So once supply caught up with demand on all these hottest toys of the year, you started getting all these returns. And it was the new in box stuff that the buyers had purchased elsewhere in January. So the item was in the same condition as you sold it. There's no reason you couldn't take the return. And this happens on eBay too. So as for the ones listed below retail, right now at this time, those sellers probably got them at thrift stores or garage sales for cheap. They didn't pay retail. So their cost is way lower than retail in the beginning, and their profit is great. But the bottom line that I want you to get from this conversation, this rambling, is that you don't have to go buy those hottest toys. In fact, don't do it. That's like a danger zone. Don't do it. Find things that people want every year, because whenever there's hype surrounding something on eBay, it's very short-lived, and you could end up losing money rather than making money. And it's perfectly fine to sell pre-owned toys. People do it all the time, especially if they're collectible, because it's the nostalgia. People give pre-owned items as gifts all the time. So do your research, figure out what people want year after year. There's some toys that they're popular every year. They don't have to be on a hot toy list. So just stay out of the hype, because that can backfire on you. And it's a very short-sighted way to run your business, is trying to get in on that hype, because it can end at any second. I've been involved in it many times myself. Like when Hostess discontinued Twinkies, or they stopped making them for a certain period. This was several years ago. I'm trying to guess, maybe 2013, 2014, something like that. But everybody went out to the grocery stores and anywhere Twinkies were sold and just bought as many as they could and flipped them on eBay. And then a few weeks later, Twinkies are back. And people had all this perishable food that went bad because they couldn't even sell it for their own cost. So just be careful with that selling the hot thing that you can buy at retail stores because it could just end badly. But speaking of ending well, I do have a testimonial from Carletta. She sent me an email that said, "Hey Suzanne, I recently listened to your podcast on ephemera, and the very next day, my trash truck driver brought me a section of a LA Times newspaper dated July 4th, 1976. He said it caught his eye and he grabbed it right before it disappeared. He didn't know if it was worth anything, but thought I might want to look it up. I couldn't find anything exactly like it, so I put it on a 5-day auction starting at $100. It's sold today for $159. Not bad for trash." And she sent me a link to the listing, and it's titled "Kiss, Ted Nugent, Bob Seger, Concert Ads Posters, July 4th, 1976, Los Angeles Times," if you want to look it up and look at her listing. But it's like a booklet. I don't know if you'd call it a program, but it's concert ads and posters. And there it is, $159.50. And then she said, "I was going to add that my sales had slowed so much, I was wondering what I should do, so I've been doing your aggressive steps to boost sales in your premium library. And after just a few days, my sales are back up, and I've sold quite a few items I've had for a long time that weren't getting much attention. I put them on clearance, and they're selling now. I'm so happy about that. I've been selling on eBay for a little over a year. I enjoy your podcast and your premium library. I've learned so much. You are the most helpful and informative source of all things eBay. Thank you for what you do." Wow, I am so flattered because that's my mission, is to be helpful and informative and respect everybody's time because, yeah, there's a lot of junk out there. So we're just trying to overcome that. Okay, thank you so much for that testimonial, and feel free to send yours in. I love hearing from you guys. Okay, moving on to something new I learned this week. I was out treasure hunting in the junk in the back section of Goodwill and found a magnifying makeup mirror. It was on a stand and had the coiled gooseneck, so you could position it however you want. You could attach it to the wall. It was not lighted, it was not electric, and it only had one magnification. Some of them have like 2 sides or even 3 sides where you can move it around and get different levels of magnification. So when I got home, I looked it up, and the company is Zadro, Zadro, and I was shocked at what these things sell for. The one I found only goes for about $30, but if it had been lighted, had multiple magnifications, had a wall mount, it depends on the features as to how much it will sell for. So let me just give you a quick rundown of this company, and you can file this away in your brain to be on the lookout for these. Zadro Products is a California-based beauty, health, and wellness brand with more than 35 years of creating innovative products that make life easier, boasting over 40 patents for its award-winning engineering since it was founded in 1984 by Zlatko Zadro. It specializes in manufacturing new technology, including first-to-market fogless mirrors, lighted vanity mirrors, and other beauty tools. Find Zadro products stocked at retailers nationwide, including Bloomingdale's, Bed Bath & Beyond, Costco, online Target.com, HSN.com, QVC, etc. Its products are designed at Zadro headquarters in Huntington Beach, California, with the majority of its collection being proudly made in the USA. So if you go to their website, this is not an ad, this is me telling you, go look at this. Zadroinc.com. So that's spelled Zadroinc.com. And look at the makeup mirrors and sort them by price, highest to lowest. Some of these retail for $250. And they don't look like it. This doesn't look like something that's extremely ornate or, it's not vintage. This is a current product. But if it has the wall mount with the arm that you can position it in different ways, two sides with different magnification, if it's lighted, if it's electric, a lot of these sell for over $175. And this is why I love eBay and keep doing it, is I learn new stuff every single day. Like, would I have been looking for these? Not really, because I try to stay away from electronics, but some of these are not electronic. However, there are some that are sold out on their website, which means that's an opportunity for us if we have it and a potential buyer Googles it. Google will send them to eBay to land on our listings. So it's always a great thing as a reseller to see sold out or out of stock or not available on any product, because if you have it, you can set your price. And consumers can't get it from the manufacturer if they don't have it. And we're living in times where manufacturing is lagging behind. These factories don't have the employees they need, they don't have the materials they need, and that creates opportunities for us as resellers. Zadro. Take a look at that if you were not familiar. Okay, moving on to what happened in my eBay store this week. I found 3 new to me, off the beaten path thrift stores in my area. You might remember that I moved to a new area in December of 2020, so I'm still discovering things here. In addition to that, I am skipping lower profit areas of the thrift store and really narrowing my focus to purchasing only high profit items. The best case scenario is $50 or higher for a $1 item. So I'm spending more time shopping and less time listing and going treasure hunting more often. And it's actually very liberating to come back from shopping with just a few high profit items that I can list quickly, because I do have a strict rule of no death piles. I list the items within a day or two. So once that batch is listed, I allow myself to go get more product. That is my routine and my self-imposed rules. So what I was finding was when I would get home with a batch of like 30 items, I would get bogged down in getting those listed. And so I have changed that procedure to spending more time looking for items so that I'm only listing those higher profit items. So it's just a shift in the way I'm doing things. I'm basically raising the bar on what I buy and how much I buy at a time, which is very difficult for me because it is hard to leave things behind that you know you can sell. But if they are not in the profit range that I want, I am leaving them behind, which is great news for the people who come behind me. So I went shopping 3 times last week, and I did spend about 2 hours in each store, really focused and hunting for those higher dollar, easy to list, easy to ship items that don't take up much space. And that's a tall order, but I am up for the challenge. So some of the items I purchased and have already listed are a pair of Anne Klein tall leather boots with a wide calf. That's a rare thing with boots that have a wide calf. These were new with tag, had just been put out that day. They were $7. I have them listed for $90. And I found a very interesting and unusual daytimer leather planner, if such a thing can be interesting. But this one has a carry strap and a handle. And I looked it up on Terapeak, and only one had sold in the last year, and there were none available. So that was $3. I have it listed for $70. And then I found several other daytimer, day runner, Franklin Covey planners that were $2 to $3, and those are listed for $35 and up. I found a Jellycat Jungly Bungly Donkey. That is a plush item. It's really floppy. It kind of reminds me of Pillow Pets, but it's by Jellycat. It's 18 inches, so it's a bigger one. But again, a sort of rare item that there weren't very many comps for. That was $1, and I have it listed for $50. I found a gorgeous Brooks Brothers leather and straw woven handbag. It's like a bucket purse. That was $5. It had just been put out that day. Our Goodwill puts the date on the stickers, on the tags, so you can see how long it's been out there. This one is listed for $70. And then an Arc'teryx, that's spelled ARC''TERYX dress, which I've never seen before. I've seen that brand, but not dresses. And it's made of that UPF 45 lightweight fabric. This was $7. I have it listed for $60. I found a vintage American Tourister red train case. Never found one of those before, and it was $4. I have it listed for $50. I found a pair of Armani prescription eyeglasses frames that were $2, and those are listed for $50. And a vintage 1994 soft baby doll. It was $1, and I have it listed for $50. So I was really proud of myself for staying focused and only buying a few items, getting those listed quickly, usually within 24 hours, and then I can move on to hitting the next thrift store and finding more treasures, and we're going to watch this and see what happens. Now, on to the main topic of this video, which is rather personal, but many of you have asked, so I am doing an update per your request. Last November, which would have been November of 2020, I posted a YouTube video about my health journey and how I reversed type 2 diabetes in a matter of a couple of months by following a protocol. I basically walked out of my doctor's office because they were not helping me. Everything was getting worse, and I was pretty much at my wit's end. This was April of 2018. So, since posting that video in November, I've had several requests for a health update. What's going on? Is it still working what you're doing? And the good news is I have never been healthier. My numbers are fantastic. My A1C is 5. My blood pressure is perfect. All of my numbers are better than normal. So I'm just doing everything I explained in that video in November of 2020. I'm just sticking to the protocol and doing all the same things. I haven't changed anything. I'm never going to go back to what I was doing before, which was the medically recommended protocol with insulin and metformin and eating every 2 hours. And all of these things were just wrong for me. So, what I wanted to do is post the audio from that video in November of 2020. So, if you haven't heard this, it might be news to you. And my mission with that video was just to put my experience out there. And maybe it might help someone else who is as frustrated and depressed as I was, feeling so horrible, but yet following everything the doctors were telling me to do. And I went to 3 different diabetic doctors because I was just determined to feel better and to get control of this. And really, if you think about people you know, or maybe even yourself, that have type 2 diabetes, nobody gets better following the mainstream medical protocol. If you know anyone who has reversed it, it's because they found a different way. So that was my experience. I wanted to share it with whoever might need it because I can tell you my physical health has never been better. All of my numbers are excellent. And I just wish other people could have this information and at least be informed enough to make a decision if they want to try this. And it's not some weird, wacky thing that you just do for a little while and then you're well and then you go back to your old ways. I mean, it's a lifestyle change forever. But this happened to me in April of 2018. We are now in August of 2021. And I'm still doing everything I explained in that video because it works. And this is all about how I feel and my quality of life. So here's the audio from that video from November of 2020. I apologize if you've heard this before, but maybe by this point in time, you might know someone that could benefit from this information. And I have put the link to the video below this podcast so you can find it easily. So here is that audio clip.
Hey, eBay sellers, it's Suzanne. I hope you're having a great day out there in eBay land. And this video is by request. It's actually very different than my normal videos, but several of you have asked. So, since you are my loyal audience, I thought I would give you an answer. Some of you have asked about my skincare routine, and I'm so flattered by your comments that you think my skin looks healthy and vibrant. And it's actually a very long story how I got here. It's not just about my complexion, it's about my overall health. I wanted to go ahead and tell this story since it is now going on 2.5 years since I got my health straightened out. And my disclaimer here is that this is not medical advice. This is my story, what I did, the resources I found, and what worked for me to get my health turned around. This is not the direction my channel is going. This is a one-time video to explain my journey because several of you have asked, and I wanted to give you an answer. So we're going back to 2016 when I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I had been feeling terrible. I went to the doctor. My A1C was 11, off the charts high. And that day was pretty horrible. They put me on insulin. I had to learn how to inject myself with insulin and about 4 other medications that go along with being a type 2 diabetic. For example, blood pressure medication. Never had a problem with my blood pressure in my life. The protocol for a type 2 diabetic is you have to take blood pressure medication to protect the kidneys. Okay, so I just did what they said. I didn't know any better. And gradually, my numbers improved by following the established medical protocol, and I started to get better. Then, about a year later, I started gaining weight, feeling worse. I couldn't sleep. I was extremely fatigued. I could hardly walk up the stairs. I felt horrible. And that was the year I turned 50. And I thought, I am too young to feel this bad. Other people my age don't have all these problems. What is wrong with me? I'm doing everything the doctors are telling me, following the diet exactly, exercising as much as I could. I was so fatigued, I could hardly do anything. And then I couldn't sleep at night. I had insomnia. So I just couldn't get a hold on my health. I was not getting better. I was getting worse. So I continued to follow the protocol until the spring of 2018. My numbers kept getting worse, but I was doing everything right. And I don't know if you've ever been in this situation, but you're doing everything the doctors are telling you and it's not working. And you go to them for help and they call you a liar. And, you know, I was just depressed. It was a terrible, terrible time. So I went to the doctor in April of 2018 and explained all of this, tried to get them to believe me. I'm a person who follows the rules. I take direction well. I try to do everything right. I care about my health. And, I just got lumped in with everybody else that was lying and didn't care about their health. And so the doctor said, "Oh, we're going to put you on another medication to make the metformin work even better." And I said, "What? Another medication? Um, to make the one that's not working work better? That does not make any sense to me." And type 2 diabetes is an illness, a problem with your insulin. You have too much. And they wanted to give me more insulin. So I asked the doctor, "Why would you give me more of what's already not working? I already have too much insulin. That's why I'm having all these problems and gaining weight and feeling weak and fatigued and depleted all the time. Why would you do that?" And the doctor had no answer. She said, "That's the protocol." She didn't think, she didn't try to explain it. And she said, "So we're going to put you on this and we're going to increase these other medications here." And I said, "You know what? Yeah, no, you're not. You're not going to do that. I'm done." And I just walked right out of the office. I didn't say goodbye. I just stopped at the front desk and paid my bill, and I was done. Traditional medicine did not work for me in this case. In fact, there is a movie on Amazon you can watch called Fat Fiction, and it explains all of this, how traditional medicine and traditional diet food intake for type 2 diabetics is all wrong. What's in the mainstream is wrong. So, watch that movie. It explains a lot. So, anyway, I went home that day and just had a major meltdown. I just didn't know what to do. And I thought, there's all kinds of people that heal from type 2 diabetes, they reverse it with other methods. And I was going to find out what those methods were and go that direction. So I got online and I found three people that really helped me: Dr. Eric Berg, Dr. Jason Fung, and Dr. Sten Ekberg. All of those links are below if you want to go to those channels. And again, this is not medical advice. I'm not trying to convert anybody. I'm just explaining what happened to me. So I started watching those channels and understanding type 2 diabetes and how it works in your body and what it does to your body and what the medications do to your body. And that was exactly what was happening to me. And I just felt this renewed sense of hope that I could turn this around on my own by following this protocol. So let me share with you what I do every day. One of the wonderful byproducts of this protocol is healthy skin. Your whole body is healthy, but your skin does start to glow and you just look a lot better. So here is a video clip from 2017 before I started this protocol. And you can see how bad I look. My hair looks terrible. My skin looks terrible. Um, this is just proof that I have changed. I do look different. And I appreciate all of you noticing. I feel so much healthier and it shows. So let me go over a typical day of the types of foods I consume and then what I don't consume anymore, and just give you an idea of what I do because it's not just a skin cream I use, it's healing from the inside out. Okay, the first thing I changed to was intermittent fasting, which is all the rage right now. You can find out lots of information about that online. But basically, I fast for 18 hours a day and I have a 6 hour eating window. That in itself is very healthy for your body. And that is what will turn type 2 diabetes around because you're not constantly putting food in your body every 2 hours like traditional doctors recommend. When you do that, your blood sugar is just doing this all day, up and down, up and down, up and down. And that's what wears out your organs. That's what makes you feel so bad because you're just crashing all day. When you do intermittent fasting, your blood sugar stays stable. And then when you eat nutrient dense foods. So the first thing I do in the morning when I get up is I have 1 to 2 cups of bulletproof coffee, which that is organic coffee with a tablespoon of grass-fed butter. I know that sounds disgusting, but you put a little bit of stevia sweetener. Stevia has no effect on blood sugar. It's not sugar. And I put that in the blender and mix that all up. And it is delicious. It's like drinking a brownie. I mean, I'm not going to consume things that taste disgusting. It's just something you want to get used to. There are all kinds of health benefits to grass fed butter. And the objective here with the intermittent fasting is that you convert your body from sugar burning to fat burning. There's all kinds of markers and symptoms if you are a sugar burner. You crash a lot during the day, irritability. You can look that up and read about that. But after a while, you become a fat burner and it's so much more efficient for your whole body and you feel so much better. I can't even explain the change. And I'm the last person in the world that was going to give up sugar, but I did it and I'll never go back. So just a note about the grass-fed butter. It has great health benefits. It has K2, which protects your heart. It has vitamin A, which is retinol, that does all kind of things for your eyes and your skin. It has omega 3s. And grain-fed dairy doesn't have all of that. Grain-fed dairy and beef is not natural. That's not what they eat in their natural environment. They don't eat grain. When you go to grass-fed products, there are so many more health benefits. So yes, I do put the Kerrygold butter in my coffee with a little stevia, mix it up with a blender, and one, sometimes two of those in the morning over about a 3 hour period. And I'm not hungry. People say, "Oh, aren't you starving? You're not eating breakfast." And it's like, no, I'm drinking what I need and I feel great. And the brain power you get from intermittent fasting is, I can't even explain it. You're on fire with ideas and you're getting things done and you're productive and you feel so good. Once you switch from being a sugar burner to a fat burner, You're not hungry. You don't think about food all day. Okay, so I go on about my day, and then about 3 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I eat my main meal, which consists of usually a huge salad. So I'm talking 5 to 7 cups of organic greens, kale, different lettuces, spinach, green vegetables really make you feel good. And if you're not a salad eater, there's other things you can do, but that worked for me because I can put even more nutrient dense foods in that salad and just eat everything at once. So I'll do 7 cups of greens, a whole avocado, artichoke hearts, different vegetables, usually all organic, and broccoli sprouts, which are a microgreen. They have tremendous health benefits. So you can read more about that if you're interested. I also put nutritional yeast on my salad, which has a lot of B vitamins, which is good for energy and your brain, and pumpkin seeds. And then I make my own dressing with a high quality olive oil and apple cider vinegar, and then my own spices. I don't buy anything pre made because it has unhealthy things in it like MSG or modified food starch, things that I don't want to eat. So, this is definitely a process. You have to learn how to do this, but now it's a routine. I've been doing it over 2 years, so it's no big deal. Also, with that main meal, I eat some protein. It may be 3 to 4 eggs, pasture raised eggs, not cage free, but organic pasture raised eggs because the chickens are out on the pasture eating what they're supposed to be eating and they're not being fed grain because that's not natural. So, pasture raised eggs have so many more health benefits. And again, they're good for your brain. I may have some grass fed beef, wild caught salmon, lots of omega 3s in that. And don't click away. Um, Sardines. I eat sardines a couple times a week because of the health benefits. Sardines in olive oil, not toxic canola oil or vegetable oil. I also eat a small bowl of sauerkraut because that is a fermented food and that has a lot of health benefits, especially for your digestion and your gut. So it sounds like a weird combination, but my focus is consuming nutrient dense, high quality foods because I feel so much better. This is all about how I feel. I'm not just doing some wacky weirdo diet just for fun. I'm doing this because I've seen the results and I don't ever want to feel bad again. So I keep doing this protocol. Then later on, I may do what I call a special coffee drink, which is decaffeinated organic coffee with a scoop of collagen powder, which is great for your skin. But I started taking it for joint pain and it really helped. I am a retired gymnast and my body was beat up doing gymnastics. So it's starting to show now in this decade and I can feel it. So that collagen powder really helped with the aches and pains of a older retired athlete. I also put cacao powder in that coffee drink that has a lot of health benefits, magnesium, manganese, and it's good for insulin resistance. Just about everything I consume has a positive effect on insulin resistance, which is the problem when you are type 2 diabetic. I also use maca powder, which comes from a root. That's also good for insulin resistance. And I can just mix all that up and drink it as a fun coffee drink, maybe with a little heavy whipping cream and some stevia to sweeten it. And it's delicious and it's very satisfying. That collagen powder is very satisfying. That's like a meal. If I don't do the coffee drink, then I do what's called my nutrient soup. And that is just make it up right there on the spot. About half a cup of bone broth, which has a lot of nutrients in it. I also put in nutritional yeast, the collagen powder, turmeric, and pepper. You need to eat those two together because the pepper helps the turmeric to be absorbed into your body. So you always want to do those together. And then some apple cider vinegar and salt. Mix that up. And it's just a broth, but you get all those nutrients in there in one shot. And it's efficient to make it that way. Okay, what about beverages? I consume a quart of Pellegrino mineral water every day. That has a lot of potassium in it, which is good for insulin resistance, and it's delicious. And it has actual minerals in it. This is what humans were designed to drink, mineral water. The water we get out of the faucet, everything's filtered out of it, so it doesn't have those minerals in it. And Pellegrino is the highest quality mineral water you can buy. So I'm drinking my minerals. And again, it's just delicious. I also drink the LaCroix type carbonated water. I don't do any soft drinks, soda, occasionally green tea or herbal tea, but that's it. And I don't miss soft drinks, colas. I don't miss any of that. And my friends make fun of me for drinking that fancy water, but I drink it for a reason because of what's in it and how it is beneficial to the body. Okay, and then in the evening, I may have a little small meal. If I haven't had eggs that day, that's when I eat them, 2 to 3 eggs. I also consume nuts and nuts with nothing on them because the processed kinds, like the Planters nuts in the can, um, they have toxic oils on them. So you want to eat your nuts without any oils on them. You may have to go to Sprouts or Whole Foods or somewhere to get that type of nut. But no peanuts because that is actually a legume and it is a low quality protein. So I consume either walnuts or pistachios because they are best for insulin resistance and they have the omega 3s. Okay, what about healthy fats? I've already talked about the grass fed butter, but I only use olive oil or coconut oil. Canola oil, vegetable oil, corn oil, all of that is terrible for you. It's highly inflammatory. And if you could get that out of your diet, you're doing yourself a huge favor. As far as vitamins, I really don't take that many. I do take some extra vitamin D, especially in the winter because you don't get as much from the sun. But it's not a vitamin protocol. You get your nutrients from the food you eat. Okay, foods that I avoid because they are inflammatory or just outright toxic. The big one, especially if you are type 2 diabetic, is sugar. It's inflammatory, it makes you hurt. It's an endocrine disruptor, which means it causes your body not to work right. And you can look that up, endocrine disruptor, and read all about what they are and how they affect your body. Also, cancer loves sugar. That's one of the first things that you're told when you're diagnosed is stop eating sugar because cancer just thrives on it. Sugar causes weight gain, it damages your arteries, it causes depression and mood swings, irritability, and accelerated aging. It also accelerates cognitive decline, which means impaired memory and may lead to dementia. So I don't consume soft drinks, sodas, candy, desserts. I read labels carefully and, as a general rule, do not consume any type of sugar. Of course, every now and then I'll have something if I'm out socially or it's a holiday, but I usually regret it because it makes me feel terrible now since my body's not used to it anymore. The next big one is fried foods and fast food, mainly because of the low quality oils that everything is fried in. And you can read up on this, but The oil is usually seed oils, which means vegetable oil, canola oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, and it's very processed. It has to go through a very long process to even become oil. And in restaurants, especially fast food restaurants, they don't change it. They just keep using it over and over and over again. It just keeps getting more and more cooked and more toxic. And it's just terrible for you. It's full of omega 6s, which are not good for you. And the worst thing you can eat is French fries because potatoes are inflammatory and they're usually GMO. And then they're fried in this very low quality oil. And really, they don't even taste good. Um, on the occasional time I want some French fries, I will go buy one organic potato and then fry it in beef tallow, which is lard. And it's delicious. That's how people used to cook before all this processed food came along. But that's like one or two times a year. And then I've had my fix. But I don't do any fast food or fried foods. And then again, the oils, vegetable oil, any kind of seed oil, canola oil is a seed. Shortening is terrible for your health. And all this is found in processed food. All those little pre made cakes and pies and desserts and cookies have that kind of oil in them, as well as sugar. And those types of oils have omega 6s, which cause inflammation. And you can look that up and read more about it. But reducing your inflammation will make your whole body feel better. And you won't believe the change once you do it. And then when you eat something that is made from these bad foods, you just really feel it and it can actually make you sick. I don't eat any corn, wheat, rice, or potatoes because all are inflammatory and usually GMO. And if you just take out the potatoes, you can greatly improve arthritis and joint pain because they are quite inflammatory. So that's a lot of starches, but I do a ketogenic diet where I don't eat the starches. I eat plenty of delicious, very satisfying food, and I don't miss all that. Another thing I don't consume is chicken because it's highly processed, factory farmed, fed grains. It's just not an ideal protein on the ketogenic diet. So I don't miss it, but that is the base of a lot of fast food restaurants is chicken. I don't consume processed meats such as lunch meat, hot dogs. They have nitrates and MSG, and most are grain fed. So none of those things work for me. They just don't have a high nutritional content. I don't consume milk or yogurt, mostly because of the sugars, and milk does have lactose and milk sugars in it. So I do consume dairy products, but only grass fed and mostly fats. Nut butters, I don't consume that. Uh, Peanuts are a legume, they're not even a nut, and they're a low quality protein. Usually, nut butters are processed, contain sugar and toxic oils, so that's another thing I don't even miss. As a general rule, I don't consume fruit. Maybe two organic apples a week, but that is a high sugar item. It does have a lot of fiber in it, but human beings can survive without fruit just fine. And I eat a lot of vegetables, so I get my nutrients from living food through vegetables. Medications, I do not consume any. They are endocrine disruptors, they cause insomnia, fatigue, and I don't even need over the counter medications because I usually feel great and I don't get sick. Okay, alcohol. I consume occasionally socially. I used to be a wine drinker at night, but I'm usually so busy doing other things in the evenings and don't think about it anymore. It really affects me more now that I eat clean, and I feel terrible the next day which leads to lack of creativity and lower productivity. So I don't even miss it. I don't even think about it. And my energy level is up all day. So I don't want to disturb that in the evenings with consuming alcohol. And then, of course, smoking. I have never smoked. I don't do that now. And that we all know the dangers of smoking. Okay, I'm getting to the skincare part. But let me share why I follow this protocol because it does seem very strict and regimented, but all of my numbers are in normal range and I check them periodically with self lab tests every few months. I have not been back to the diabetic doctor because they did not heal me. Type 2 diabetes is a progressive disease. It never gets better once mainstream doctors put you on medication. It did not work for me. So I decided to be in charge of my own health and figure this out myself. So I check my numbers with self lab tests a few times a year just to see where I am. And I do an A1C test, cholesterol test, and just make sure everything is in order, which it is. So I have healed myself by following this protocol. I did for myself what mainstream medicine could not do for me. And I do think that they try to keep you sick so that you'll be a return customer. And that was my experience. No diabetic doctor, and I went to 3 of them. None of them offered me any solutions of how to reverse the disease. I had to figure that out on my own. Another reason I follow this protocol is the increased brain power and creativity. Everything in my life that requires concentration is so much better than it used to be. I used to have to take naps all the time, 2 or 3 a day, because I couldn't focus. I would get this brain fog and I couldn't think. And that's gone. I go strong for 12, 14 hours a day and back to the eating. Sometimes I forget to eat because I'm so busy doing other things that it's just not even an issue. The third reason is increased energy all day. I don't get tired. Sometimes I just take a nap to give my brain a rest, like because there's so many ideas going on and I just have to bring it down a notch. So I'll just go lay down. But it's not because I have to, it's because I choose to. And I'm just as good at 5 o'clock in the afternoon as I was at 9 o'clock in the morning. If you don't believe me, try all this and see how it works for you. I couldn't believe people that talked about this on Dr. Berg's Facebook group and his testimonial videos. I just thought, yeah, that's a bunch of crap. But no, it's true. You have increased energy all day when you get the sugar out of your body. I don't have any pain anywhere in my body. I used to have like this lower back pain, and then some days my feet would hurt and I would get headaches. I don't have that anymore. I feel great all day, every day. And it sounds like this is really complicated and hard to do, but it's easy once you figure out a routine and it's sustainable forever for the rest of my life. There's no reason to go back to what I was doing before. That didn't work. Why would I change this? This is the best I have ever felt. And the foods are really delicious. At first, you think, oh my God, what am I going to do? I can't eat bread. I can't eat corn. I can't eat fast food. But there is so much support and information online with Facebook groups and YouTube and blogs, um, recipes. You can find anything you want. And you won't miss those old crappy foods once you change because I don't ever crave them. I enjoy what I eat and it's very satisfying and delicious. Okay, so the final part of this is the skincare routine, which is like hardly anything. But thank you so much for your compliments on my complexion. It has definitely improved during this protocol. And my skincare routine is so basic. Mornings, I use an apricot scrub and then follow that with witch hazel on a cotton ball. I use CoverGirl makeup. It's nothing expensive. And in the evenings, I just wash my face with Dove soap and moisturize with almond oil before I go to bed. I really think the mineral water has a lot to do with it, and the healthy fats, as well as the collagen powder. So, all of those things are good for your skin, as well as the other health benefits. But the foods and nutrients I consume do the work from the inside. And I just don't consume anything that has negative effects on the skin. So, you asked for it and you got it. And just rest assured, my channel is not going in a direction of skincare or health or recipes or anything like that. Several of you just asked for this, so I wanted to give you an answer. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about any of this, but we will now go back to our regularly scheduled eBay programming.
Okay, that's it. All you ever wanted to know about Suzanne's type 2 diabetes, but we're afraid to ask. That's the whole story. So we have made it to the end of another intriguing and fascinating episode of eBay the Right Way, plus a personal backstory about Suzanne. Thanks for listening. Remember to be nice to each other. And as always, have a profitable and productive day on eBay. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.